Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Wakefield, the short story by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so the channel can continue to grow. Now, Wakefield, very interesting short story here by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Basically, what happens is you have this guy by the name of Wakefield, and he got married to this woman. They on all accounts, they had a normal wedding, normal marriage. They were happy, everything's good, and there's nothing wrong with his wife. And one day, he pretty much decides to leave, and he tells his wife he's going away. He's gonna be away for a couple days. If he doesn't show up, don't worry, but he'll be back. And he ends up staying away for 20 years. He actually moves on to a street that's close by to his wife, and he just watches her. He watches her grieve for him. They eventually, his friends, his wife, everybody believes that he's dead, and they settle accounts. And she becomes a widow, and she grieves and she mourns and she remains by herself. She doesn't get remarried, and this man Wakefield is just watching all of this go down. She was sick for a while after his death because the shock, no thinking that your husband is dead and thinking that he was in love with you and that everything was fine. And again, this work is very strange because it's not like he doesn't say he doesn't love his wife. He doesn't say that he doesn't want to be with her. It's just he leaves and then he watches what's happening. It's almost like it's it's a sick experiment to see what happens when what happens when you step out of your life, because this man just he's like, that's it, I'm done, just gonna stop being a husband, gonna stop being friends with my friends. I'm just gonna stop everything and just leave. And that's what he does. He just walks out the door, moves into a next to a lodging close by, and then he just watches his wife for 20 years. And then after 20 years, he gets really old. There is some intervals where they cross paths. Once they even get so close that they bump each other, their hands touch, and their bodies rub against each other in a crowd. And his wife is like, it was like she has some suspicions, but the husband's been dead, or at least that's what she thinks, and she's grieving. And after 20 years, she stops grieving and she believes that he's dead, but he just keeps watching from afar. And then one day he just walks back into the house, and we're not really told how they come back together, or do they get married again, or I mean, no one really knows what happens after somebody's declared dead. How do you get back together with them as a married couple? But we're pretty much told after 20 years he comes back and he gets back with his wife and he loves her until he dies, basically. So that's the story. In terms of analysis and deeper meaning, it's really strange. This story is very ambivalent. Um, it's um, it's just it's a strange story. There's so many things happening here. Um, I mean, you just leave your wife for 20 years and then you just walk back into the door like nothing ever happened. Um, yeah. So, the human psyche, man. And I think his wife, if we're just going to think out loud here, I think his wife is always going to be suspicious of him, or they're not going to have the same relationship. Because if you're a woman and your husband left you for 20 years and then came back, he's got to have a good explanation. And I don't know what he's going to tell her, or does he lie to her? This is just speculation here. Or how they go back together as husband and wife. She probably thinks, oh, maybe he's been seeing other women. Maybe for 20 years he was cheating. Maybe like all these things could play in her head. And this man, he's just a peculiar man. He just leaves his wife and then watch her cry and grieve over his death. And then and one day he just comes to his senses and just goes back home. So I mean, life is hard sometimes, and sometimes we want to escape. That's why some people binge watch TV, or some people go to marijuana. Some people become alcoholics, and that's how a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of people around the world escape their lives if it's too much for them. You know, you overindulge on binging TV, or you overindulge on sports, or you overindulge on alcohol or marijuana, or you're never sober. A lot of times people don't want to be sober because they don't want to actually face their true problems and face their lives. It just sucks, But this guy here, Wakefield, it's not that he's going through anything like that. It's just he just walks out on his wife, and he pretty much just runs an experiment to see what would happen to her. So it's very weird. Um, in some ways, philosophical, I guess. It's like examining human beings, their decisions, how it affects the mind and our behavior, our souls. But yeah, very strange. This reminds me of Bartleby. Very peculiar. It's just so weird. But this story, it says a lot about individuals, our choices, why we make choices, and honestly, this story is open ended. You can have a lot of speculations and come to many different the conclusions as to why this man did this. But as long as you can find some senses to support what you think, um, you could really go anywhere you want with this story here, because it's just so open ended. Because why does he do it? Does he get a thrill out of it? Why would he stay away from his wife's warm embrace for 20 years, and sleep in the bed all on his own when he could have been, right next to his wife day in and day out? And humans we're creatures. We want to be with people, especially with your wife. It makes no sense that this man just lived alone one street away from his wife, and then just one day just walks back into the door like nothing ever happened. Very, very strange. But that's my summary analysis of this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.